We are happy to see you all at the pre-flight press conference. Expeditions 47-48 to the International Space Station. The State Commission deemed them appropriate for the launch. We have the prime crew and the backup crew here. Finished all the training, took their exams, and we were able to watch them for the past 2 days. So the prime crew, the Soyuz commander Alexey Ovchinin, Russia. Flight engineer Oleg Skripochka, Russia. Flight engineer Jeff Williams, NASA. Backup crew, the Soyuz commander Sergei Ryzhikov. Flight engineer Andrei Borisenko. Flight engineer 2, Robert Kimbrough. The launch is scheduled for March 19th. We're ready to start our press conference. And RIA Novosti will ask us a question. Thank you, Polina. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to the prime crew and to the backup crew on their exams, on their training, on their off-normal situations. Hopefully we won't have to meet them in real time. I have a question for Oleg Skripochka.
Скажите, пожалуйста, вот насколько я знаю, у вас какой-то ожидается необычный индикатор невесомости.
As far as I know, you are supposed to have some unusual zero-G indicator. So could you say something about this and also about your call sign? I think I'll pass the floor to the Soyuz commander Alexey Ovchinin. Good afternoon. This toy is going to be the zero-G indicator. It's an owl. This is how it looks. Yeah, just keep close to the mic. So the zero-G indicator is this owl, a toy. My daughter loves everything related to owls. She loves owls, birds. This is one of the smallest owls that she has in her collection. And she was so kind to give this toy to me. And during the time that we are going to stay on board the International Space Station, this toy is going to remind me about my family, about my daughter. So that's as far as the zero-G indicator goes. And the call sign is Burlak. I come from the town of Rybinsk, the Yaroslavl region. Rybinsk was the capital of river towing barges, and I took this call sign. This call sign will remind me of my native town, of my native places. That's why I also published a poster, and I'm going to show it later to you.
Здравствуйте, Интерфакс, агентство.
This is the Interfax agency, Nikolai Protopopov. This question is for all the members of the prime crew. April the 12th is the day of human spaceflight. Everyone is going to celebrate it here on Earth, and you'll be in space. How are we going to celebrate this day there? Thank you.
Ну, мы тоже будем праздник обязательно отмечать.
We're going to celebrate it too. And I think we're going to participate from the station in all those events that will take place on Earth. And I think we're going to gather as a crew and have a celebration in the evening or something. This day on board the station is going to be an off day. This is one of the 4 off days that our increment is going to have. So yes, this is a very important date. And I think, just as Oleg has said, we're going to participate in a number of events related to April 12th. And we're going to gather together as the crew and have a festive dinner.
Enjoy several holidays, free days on board. They're not completely free, though, on board. There's always work to do maintaining the space station. But it's a reduced workload for that day, and we will celebrate among ourselves with typically over a meal. We oftentimes get together for a meal in the Russian segment, maybe for lunch, and then in the evening get together for a meal in the U.S. segment, in the American segment in Node 1. So we look forward to that.
Добрый день. Еще раз хотел бы поздравить вас с этим.
Good afternoon. I'd like once again to congratulate you on this event. And I have a question. What kind of menu are you going to have on the ISS? And do you have any preferences? This is, I'm talking about meals and food. This is the question addressed to the Prime Crew, of course. Thank you.
Меню на борту Международной космической станции.
The menu aboard the International Space Station is very varied. We made it ourselves prior to flight. We had food tasting prior to the flight, and we chose meals that we liked, and they're going to make up the menu that we're going to have on board the ISS. Besides, we have so-called bonus containers and parcels that will be arriving on cargo vehicles from the family. Something tasty. Unfortunately, the list is not that long. Not everything can be passed to be taken to the International Space Station, but I know that crews normally are looking forward to the arrival of the cargo vehicle and to the presence from the family. I'd like to say that there is a standardized menu that is repeated over every 16 days, so-called the 16-day menu, and every crew can add something and modify it accordingly. Of course, everybody is looking forward to the parcels from the family, but there are restrictions as to how long the food can be consumed, can be stored, because there are no refrigerators and stuff like this.
The variety of food that we have there and the way we're able to uniquely select some of the food, and a lot of the food is common from both, well, from all the partners, really. I would say, though, after several months on board, some of my favorite things would be to have the fresh fruit and vegetables that show up on the Progress or another cargo ship.
Еще один вопросик, я забыл совсем.
One more question, I completely forgot. We talked about the 12th of April, and we omitted the 9th of May, the Victory Day for Russia, which is so important for our states. How are you going to celebrate the Victory Day in the Second World War? Are you going to have some special meals? Thank you.
Насчет особенных блюд, я думаю, если к тому времени что-то...
I'm not so certain about any particular day, any particular meals, but if there is something left from the bonus containers, then yes, but other than that, I think we're going to have an ordinary day in terms of meals and food. But on the eve of this meaningful day, we're going to have lots of work because it will all be related to shootings of best wishes, congratulations, and events like this, so nobody said no to that. And of course, we're going to have an excellent company. That's the main ingredient. So this is a question for Alexey, the Soyuz commander. What would you say about your crew, about your flight engineers? I believe that my crew is ready for the space flight. We've been training together for quite a long time. Oleg has already been in space. This is going to be a fourth flight for Jeff. I'm a rookie. I'm the only rookie on this crew. But I'm sure that both Oleg and Jeff will continue to help me and assist me, which they are already doing now. And this will continue on board. So I'm going to get assistance. I know that should I have questions or problems, I can always turn to Jeff, to Oleg. I'm sure they will help me. So I'm 100% confident in my crew, in our crew, and I know that we will fully carry out the task which is set before us.
From NBC about your long-term plans after the mission. This is your fourth flight, and there's talks about the ISS possibility of it being decommissioned within a decade, and you've been there a lot of times. So what's the long-term plan? Do you hope to catch your fifth flight, or maybe, given all the new developments such as SpaceX, maybe flying from Cape Canaveral to some new destinations with your Russian friends and colleagues, of course? Thank you.
Well, that's a difficult question to answer. I would say that I make it a rule for myself every time I'm getting ready for a flight not to think too much about what's going to occur after the flight. I found both professionally and personally, it's important to just focus on the flight, to execute it safely and effectively. And then after landing, after the dust settles and whatnot, then perhaps I'll consider what comes next. But that's a general rule. I think it's a good rule to have.
Добрый день.
Good afternoon. Snimash, this is a question for the commanders of the prime crew and of the backup crew, to Alexey Ovchinin and to Sergei Ryzhikov. Integrated training is over. Could you say something about your impressions, what you experienced? Thank you.
Ну, как я уже говорил раньше,
As I have already said,
комплексные тренировки закончились.
integrated training is over.
Те экзамены, которые мы сдавали,
the exams that we took, the grades that we received, say that every crew member, be it the prime crew or the backup crew, and I think Sergei will say a few words later, are fully ready to fulfill the task set and to carry out the flight. In a few days, we're going to leave for the Baikonur Cosmodrome, where we're going to have specific pre-launch training. The crews are ready for the pre-launch training, and they're ready for the spaceflight.
Мы в составе дублирующего экипажа проходили подготовку более года.
The backup crew has been training for over a year. It was quite extensive and intensive, and the exams that we took was the first one in my life, my first experience like that. It gave me a lot. I was able to understand lots of things that before that I could not grasp because I didn't have that experience. And of course, I had experience, both positive and all the mistakes that I've made. I'll take them into account, and they will better our performance later. As for the main task, the backup crew is here. They fulfilled it, they executed it, and the backup crew are not supposed to pass their exams with better results than the prime crew, which we did. So we're ready.
Здравствуйте, вопрос от телеканала РТ.
This is a question from the ORT channel. This is a question for the crew members that have already been in space. There have been some information in the media that during Apollo 10, the astronauts heard some strange sounds similar to music when they flew around the moon, but they were hesitant about letting MCC know. So my question is as follows. During your space flight, have you encountered any experiences that you could not explain and that you were hesitant to talk about at first? Thank you.
Interesting question. We hear all the time the conspiracy theories that are out there on some of the websites and some of the TV channels. Of course, I think we all in this room know the truth about the communication behind the moon. It was just interference with the Apollo communication system itself, and that's been clarified. I'll give you another example, though, but I'll let Yulia translate.
Да, много слухов ходит по сайтам в интернете, по телевизионным каналам. И вопрос о помехах в коммуникационной системе Apollo уже решен.
There was one time several years ago, somebody sent me a link to a documentary that was on television, American television, and it had a scene of me in the window on station watching a UFO. I don't remember doing it, so the story was all made up.
Несколько лет назад я получил ссылку на документ. Это американское телевидение, кадры из документального фильма. И в этом кадре я находился на фоне купола и наблюдал инопланетян.
Of course, I've had many interesting experiences on board, but they've all been explainable.
Ну, я с удовольствием поделюсь своим впечатлением от прошлого.
I'd be happy to share my impressions from my previous space flight.
В одну прекрасную лунную ночь на Земле.
One excellent moonlit night on Earth.
Хорошо различимое световое пятно.
I saw a bright spot on the surface of the planet, and my first thought was, here it is, this historic moment when I can see alien creatures over there and them visiting Earth. It was quite large, the diameter several hundreds kilometers, but our crew started thinking about it. It was a brainstorm, and we figured out that it was an interesting reflection on the surface of the Earth, just a regular physics phenomenon.
Вопрос от канала «Россия».
Question from the Russia channel to the Prime Crew members. What are you going to take with you, I mean your personal affairs?
Ну, из личных вещей. В прошлый полет брал с собой пару...
My personal items, I took a couple of toys during my previous flight and family pictures. So I think I'm going to take photos as well. They're going to remind me of my family, of my home, where we'd gone, what we done. Of course, one starts missing family and friends, so this does help a lot. I'm also going to take pictures of my family members and friends, and I also ask them to write letters to me. They wrote letters, and I'm going to open them when I'm on the ISS. That is, right now I don't know what's written in those letters, and it's going to be a surprise once I get on board. Hopefully this is going to provide some psychological support when I'm in space. What about later? Probably.
I'm taking a few small items for family. I am going to take some photographs. I have 3 grandchildren now, with a 4th expected at the end of March. So I'm going to bring some small items for my grandchildren for them to have for the rest of their life. And I will also bring a Bible.
Oleg, я хотела вам задать вопрос.
Oleg, I have a question for you. First of all, congratulations on everybody on having successfully finished your training. You're about to start your pre-launch preparation, so congratulations on the results. Oleg, a question for you. 6 years ago, you were the first one to fly on the space vehicle on Soyuz TMA-20M, and this time you're going to fly on the last vehicle of this series. Did you have a training on the new series MS Soyuz vehicles? No, not really. The original plan was, yes, you were supposed to launch on the first vehicle belonging to the MS series, but Independent of us, the launch of this vehicle will move to the right in the future. So yes, indeed, the first vehicle of the new series was the flight that I participated in, and I flew with Alexander Kaleri. And this time I'm going to finish the flight path of this vehicle, of this series. Do you feel that you are responsible? What can you say about this vehicle? It's a very good vehicle, but we hope the subsequent ones are going to be even better. So a question, what's the difference between the new MS series from the old series? I think you need to ask the crew who are going to launch on the MS, because they're also being prepared on Soyuz TM, and they're going to launch on Soyuz MS.
Евгения Водолазская, город Королёв, газета «Спутник». У меня...
This is the Sputnik newspaper from the Korolev city, and I have a question to Andrei Borisenko. You announced a competition for the school children as far as an experiment, the most interesting experiment that could be set up on board the International Space Station. What are the results of this competition? Are you going to ask your colleagues to set up this experiment? Are you going to set it up yourself? When this competition was, when we came up with this competition, we thought that this would be a competition and an experiment that will be carried out during my flight. So I'll be happy to answer your question during my press conference. Thank you.
Ольга Белова, телеканал РЕН-ТВ. Вопрос российским
The REN-TV channel, question for the Russian crew members. A couple of weeks ago, you had training on trainer Vykhod 2. This is for spacewalks and a new Orlan spacesuits that haven't yet been delivered to the space station. Could you say a few words about how that training went?
Ну, к сожалению, на нашу экспедицию пока не планируется выход.
Unfortunately, there is no spacewalk planned for our increment. So, but everything changes, so you never know. Maybe we will have to participate in a spacewalk. But I need to say that a spacewalk is still an experiment. It's not something regular and commonplace. The spacesuit is very convenient and it's very nice. It's very comfortable to work in it. It has been very well thought through.
Этот небольшой космический корабль позволит
you can compare a spacesuit to a small space vehicle that would allow one to execute all the tasks set. The finalizing two questions, please, to wrap it up. A question not related to your upcoming flight. It's a question for both crews. There's been an announcement lately that GSTC is going to see military positions introduced again. What do you think about it, and what is your idea? Do you have any more questions? This is not a question addressed to the prime crew or the backup crew. So I'm going to ask those who've flown before what they expect to see in space this time, and for those who are going to make their first space flight.
Remarkable events in space, but I think in terms of categories, the most remarkable is viewing the Earth, looking back at home. Obviously, we're connected with it. We live here. We have family here, friends here. We're not too far away from it. And the Earth is an endless variety of wonders in its view out the window.
Чего я ожидаю от своего первого полета?
What am I expecting from my first space flight?
Я к этому своему первому полету иду.
First of all, I need to say that it's been a long time. For me, it's been 9 years and a half. This dream, I've had it since when I was a kid.
Я буду ощущать это.
And what I'm going to experience, to feel, is that my dream, something that I've been looking forward to, is finally coming through and coming true. And as Jeff has said, I do want to see Earth from space. Everyone has seen the Earth in the pictures, in the photos taken in space. Films, movies with the Earth as the main subject, but I'm sure that this is not going to still make a final impression similar to one that one experiences when seeing it with one's own eyes from space. And of course, I want to fully execute all the tasks, so all the lists that we have for this expedition. I want to do them well. Thank you.
Ну, самое яркое впечатление, наверное, первое.
My most vivid impressions, I think the first one will be related to the launch, when we were just inserted into orbit. I looked out of the window and I saw the black line of the horizon, that Earth indeed was round. At the same time, we were experiencing weightlessness. New feeling. We do have zero-G trainings on the ground, but this is a short term, whereas in space, it's something that lasts for a long, long time, several months. It was very unusual. My second impression is the docking to the station. First of all, through the window, one sees the solar arrays, something man-made. If we talk about the size, it's huge. And that's something that we're approaching, and we're going to live right there. And of course, my third bright impression is my spacewalk. Opening the hatch, going out, and it's all out there in front of me. They do have to go out, take a deep breath, and walk out. And after that, it was just a regular EVA work. And of course, the Earth is very beautiful, glaciers, thunderstorms, whatnot. One more question. This is a 360 channel for the Prime crew. Oh, I'm sorry.
I had several spectacular things, from launching on the space shuttle to experiencing weightlessness, like Oleg said, to going outside to do some spacewalks. But really, the most remarkable thing was really what Jeff was talking about, is just viewing our planet from that perspective and knowing all the people that are on the planet that we love. So that was my most memorable experience.
Ну, я хочу сказать, что, наверное, действительно весь космический полет является одним большим...
I'd like to say that the entire space flight is one single long-duration impression that's never to be forgotten in life. But the first thing, what I was surprised by, was the launch moment when the rocket tore away from Earth, because my mind was saying that everything was going nominally, but emotionally, on the emotional level, my body was not fully confident. And I did have some doubts whether everything was indeed nominal or whether we were going to fall down and the emergency escape system was going to function. And the second thing I'd like to talk about, the emotional thing that I experienced, was the separation moment, when the space vehicle separated from the booster, and that, yes, indeed, we're in weightlessness. And these are the minutes, these are the moments that we've been preparing for all the time. So no matter what would going to happen, I am already in my space flight.
Мой образ полета только формируется, уже давно, конечно, с детства.
Well, talking about space flight, this is something that is being formed in my mind. I'm listening to my crew members, to my colleagues, and this is something that's still being formed. And I listened to different stories, and my colleagues confirmed my impressions. Just as in aviation, the very first launch, the very first time you go into the air is something, number one, something that cannot be related or passed on, and I expect something similar here from the launch. The final coming through of my dreams, and this is like a road leading from 1 to 2. Thank you. Question for the prime crew. Can you say a few words about the experiments that you are planning to execute, to carry out during the expedition? Maybe there's something unusual that we haven't yet heard about.
Начну я отвечать, потом
Let me start, then probably my colleagues will take the floor and add something.
На время нашей экспедиции запланировано
So our increment is going to see a large number of experiments, around 50 of them, 50 scientific experiments, medical experiments, biological and technological experiments,
съемка жизни на станции, съемка
shooting of life on the ISS, shooting of experiments for educational purposes and whatnot. These experiments can be divided into experiments that are purely Russian experiments, and besides, we are going to have some joint experiments together with our colleagues from NASA. Say we have the fluid shifts experiment.
Этот эксперимент, во время проведения этого эксперимента,
during this experiment, we are going to
крови на различных этапах,
draw blood at different stages.
делать УЗИ.
We are going to perform the ultrasound imagery of the eye, and not only the ultrasound. We are going to have a full evaluation of eyes, ultrasound of internal organs, of vessels, blood vessels. And these sessions are going to take place at different stages. The first one in 45 days after the arrival, and the final session will occur 40 days prior to landing. This will allow for our doctors and for us scientists to compare the data that we have at the beginning of the increment and at the end of the increment, and hopefully conclusions will help astronauts and cosmonauts of the future to better comply with the flight specifics, and hopefully this will help during long duration flights in the future, and they're going to help them to survive on space missions. I'd like to add that the fluid shifts means fluid shifts inside the body, in the body. So we are studying the human body in weightlessness. But say compared to the first flight, we have a large volume of medical experiments. It's difficult to be short and concise here, but we are going to have lots of exams, medical exams, and we are going to function as medical assistants and doctors and nurses. And we're also going to examine how the station behaves. This will help us when we're going to build similar objects in the future.
I don't know if I can add much other than to put it in English, that we've got a wide array of experiments in the plan. And as Alexey talked about, having several experiments that are joint between NASA and Russia that have been very successful on the current flight. In fact, fluid shifts, which Alexey described, was started with the one-year crew, and we will continue that investigation.
Здравствуйте. Но прежде всего,
Good afternoon.
передать слова поздравления
First of all, congratulations on behalf of the President of the Federation of Cosmonautics in Russia, Kovalenko. Congratulations to the prime crew and to the backup crew on the upcoming space flight.
космонавт,
According to the rules of the Federation, a cosmonaut who is preparing for his or her first flight gets an ID of a crew member. Alexey Ovchinin, prime crew, first space flight. So this ID has been prepared by the Cosmonautics Federation of Russia. The number is 144.
Оно оформлено в соответствии с требованиями, действующим порядком.
All the standards have been observed. The last page shows a request in 5 languages to provide assistance in case of an off-normal situation.
Алексей Николаевич возьмет с собой в космический
This ID Alexey Ovchinin will take with him, and he's going to take it with him during the subsequent space flights.
Космической станции ставить здесь соответствующие штампики.
And a stamp is going to be put into this ID according to the rules. And later on, this ID will be the only ID that a cosmonaut will have on board the space station. And I'm happy to pass this ID to Alexey now.
Ну и разрешите пожелать успеха.
And allow me to wish success and to wish all the best to you 400 kilometers under the belly of your space vehicle. Thank you. Dear colleagues, thank you very much for the questions. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your time. Our press conference finishes here. And we'll see our crews at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. And now to our next step, group picture.
Все это